we can go down the line and introduce ourselves. You want to start?
Sure. Hey everybody, I'm Kametz, and I'm a voice actor. And do we just say that? I think that's
Here doesn't know who Billy is.
Hi everyone, I'm Daman Mills. I'm a voice actor too. What's up?
Hi, I'm Dani Chambers. I'm a voice actor too. I play a lot of precious babies. Thanks for being here.
Doesn't matter. Now it's cool. Okay, try now.
Hello.
There.
There we go.
Cool. Hi, here we go.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Attaway. I'm a voice actor and a stage actor as well, and a singer. And I voice authoritative figures and monsters.
I'm Kid Williams, also a voice actor, and I also voice villains, but also gentle fathers.
Not so gentle.
My name is John Swasey, and I don't really know what I'm doing here. I am a voice actor, and much like these other wonderfully talented folks up here, and I too play villains and dads, and very often the same person. Just glad to be here.
Hi, I'm Wendy Powell, and I play demons and old ladies, which is a strange combination inside a cage. This is my life. I'm also grateful to be here.
And I'm Madeleine Morris. I'm a voice actor, stage actor, and an adaptive scriptwriter for anime. I play a lot of good boys and good girls, and occasionally bad girls. Ouch! You. Not that way. You sure? Okay, fair. I get yeah. I wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
So I guess if you got a question, I think they're going to come up here in the mic in the middle of the aisle. And if you have a question, go ahead and line up, and feel free to answer your questions.
So you got perfect height.
Let's speak from your son.
Anybody 4 feet tall? There you go.
And you're about. Is this thing working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, one second.
We can hear you.
Well, I was just wondering, what to all of you, what is some of your most embarrassing acting stories that you don't really want to say?
I've never embarrassed myself once in my life.
What?
Doing it now.
Make you feel ashamed to be embarrassed.
I will tell you a story. It's not true, I'm just going to make one up. I was doing, this did not happen to me, but it happened to my daughter Olivia, who's a voice actress as well.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, it's always a joy when you get to work, because I'm also a director and I've worked with her and directed her. And it's a joy when you get to work with your child. I mean, it's delightful. However, in this situation, it was a little ew. So we're doing a show, and I had already recorded. And Olivia, her name is Olivia, went in to record, and she's recording, and the ADR director says, now this next scene is a little tricky, because it's sort of a love scene. And the guy doing the loving is actually played by your dad. I didn't learn this until Olivia was on a panel with me and shared this story. So my world was shattered.
Oh no.
And I've been in therapy ever since.
This was a made-up story, right?
Made-up story, right?
I don't think they thought it through is what happened. I think they were like, you know, because when you're prepping a show as a director, you know, you watch the whole thing. And there's just sometimes, you know, by the time you've watched an entire season getting ready for to record, some things fall through the cracks. You just forget. And that's what happened here.
Okay.
But she pulled it off like a trooper.
That's a good one.
Can't one up that one.
So I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm sure you probably get asked all the time. This is for the entire panel. I figured I'd get it out of the way now. So I'm a podcaster for a full-time living now, and I want to transition into voice acting. What are the best steps that you would give to a budding voice actor to move from one to the other, or just kicking off their career?
Okay. For those interested, I don't know why I do that. For those interested in getting into voice acting, go to this website. iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. That's what a lot of us refer to because it has all the resources, all the information you need to get started.
Thank you, Danielle. Look it up
I'm
now.
writing it down.
D. Bradley Baker, a well-known voice actor, he created this website as a resource. But you know, first opportunity to be an actor, that's like the biggest thing. Number one. Voice comes second. But yeah, refer to the website.
I was answering your question with a question, and my question is why? Why do you want to do it to yourself?
I'll be completely honest with you. I make money with my voice now, and I want to make more money. And
Then don't do this.
I mean, maybe commercial.
Do commercial, that's what
Yeah,
I mean.
that's what the money is.
well, I also respect what you all do. People know you for just voices, and I have a respect for you.
That's very kind of you, but these people speak the truth, because the fact of the matter is that the 8 of us up here live in houses made of solid gold. We sit by our gold melted pool, bask in the sun, and then we hop in our solid gold automobiles and drive around.
Why not let's with diamond tissue paper?
The main thing, exactly what they said, the main thing to do is become an actor.
Yeah.
And don't rush it. I had a guy in New York one time. That's not clear. I was in New York and I was on a panel and somebody asked this question. But the way that person phrased it was, I've taken a 6-week course. What's my next move? And I said, well, this is a panel about a show, not that. But since you've asked, take it again. And he said, well, I've already taken it. I said, I know, take it again. He goes, well, I don't understand. I said, oh, let me explain it to you. Take it again. And then when you finished it, take it another time. Then take it again. And then after that, then you can take it again. And the fact is that what he was insinuating is, look, this isn't rocket science, but it is a skill. It's a talent, right? And you learn it. It's like learning to play a musical instrument. And to say, I took a 6-week class and now I'm ready to move, what's my next move, is negating, in my opinion, we all could disagree, it's negating the years that everyone up here has put into this craft. You don't get it in 6 weeks. If you did, I mean, I wish I would have done that, because we've been doing this for 25, 30 years, some of us, and we're still learning. So,
Preach.
the main thing is just start off. You know, it's a cliche, but every journey begins with the first step. So just start out that way. Don't do it because you think you're going to get more money. Don't do it because you're going to get invited to conventions. Don't do it for any of that. Do it because you want to do that. Because I promise you, it'll be rife with frustration, rejection. You'll be told you suck. It's brutal. And the people that go...
Also, just stay off social media.
And I had a guy come up to my table today, and he just looked at one of my prints and went, sucked.
Who did it? Who did it?
Oh, I've marked them already, don't worry. We're going to get there.
Yeah, I'll
But he didn't mean, but it turns out he didn't mean me, he just meant the ending of the show.
How did he clarify this?
I know, but still, it's just, so the point is, the bottom line is, I don't want to dominate this, but the point is like everyone up here, or other people said, take acting classes. That's the bigger word, that's the most important. But use those resources, you know, and find those. Get into an acting class, get yourself immersed into the whole community, and it will happen. But just don't feel like it's got to be rushed. You're young, You've got time.
Oh, well, thank you for that, I appreciate it.
Well, you got a mask on, I can't really tell.
I can only speak for myself, but this is something that I believe in very wholeheartedly, is that you're never done learning. So I can't speak for you guys down the table, but I still take classes. I took a class with Wendy a year ago. You know, everybody has something different to teach you. Even if what they can teach you is my technique does not jive with you. You know, or you know, here's what not to do. Here's the impression not to make. You know. But yeah, so you know, you've never. I don't think there's a point where you've made it. You're still always working and you're still always training, and a lot of work is also that training.
But this is something I'm very passionate about, because a lot of, you know, when I started doing this, when you started doing this, you know, there just weren't many people doing it. So we were very fortunate. We were getting to do a lot of it. Well, now the market is just rife with, riddled with people wanting to do this, and that's great. No thing. But too many people I run across put the wrong emphasis on what to do. They'll come up and they go, I'm an aspiring voice actor. What equipment do I need? What equipment do you need? Here, use this. I mean, what do you mean equipment? Well, I need to get a whisper room, and I need to get this, and I got to build out blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. The equipment is here. You can get that. There's studios already built by people that run them that you can go to. I'm not saying don't have your own studio, but it's like going, I want to learn how to play the guitar. So I went down to the guitar store, and I bought a $10,000 Les Paul and a $5,000 Marshall stack, and I'm ready to go. And it's like, why? That is not what is going to make you good. What makes you good is getting a $200 guitar and learning scales and chords and developing the muscle memory every single day. That's going to make you a guitar player. So just like she said, you're learning, take classes, just keep focused on that. Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. It's great.
Thank you.
Good question.
So I wanted to ask, I personally really want to be an actor, but I'm struggling with actually staying motivated to do things. So how do you stay motivated, just overall?
When you find out
I think that my thing is like, I'll take a lot of breaks, and I'll just like take myself out on like an artist date, and I'll just like go see a movie or go see a show, and like, I feel like my colleagues and peers are like seeing something awesome. Like, I remember back when I was in musical theater stuff, nothing would make me want to go home and work on like, what songs do I want to put in my book than seeing a Broadway show. Like, and now like I cry in every animated movie, which is why I see all of them by myself. I will go to a movie and I'll like see something and be like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of something like that one day and make someone cry like that. So then I'll just like go home and be like, what class can I take? What have I not done? What can I work on? And so I feel like just, I get motivation from other people and just amazing performances.
Yeah, I would say I practice perspective shifting on a regular basis. Exactly what he said, rejuvenation of what sparked it, you just enjoying the art itself, but also learning new ways to do it, new versions of what you're doing. Like, you know, I was on Broadway for years, but now I'm in classes for every other part of the work that I want to do, right? I have classes lined up for on-camera work, classes lined up for promo, voiceover work, all of that, because I feel it's all lateral movement. You know, if you're an actor and you're a storyteller, the medium doesn't matter as much. So to keep yourself motivated, you can remind yourself how many parts of your life it touches. That would lead you back to the reason on a regular basis. You know? Like, where would your life be if there was no music in it? You know, that's a heavy thought if you want to be a musician. Or if you want to be an actor, if none of that existed, what would you be doing? Yeah, that's what I had to do the same character over and over, is to bring in every perspective I could to rejuvenate it every day, because I sometimes had to do that twice a day. So yeah.
I think too, during this pandemic, you know, so many of us lost like we were still recording, but we lost the ability to do live theater and like you were saying, different mediums, and it makes us incredibly grateful. And the perspective, like you're talking about the shift of what are we without this? It's really part of who we are as humans, and it's part of experiencing the human condition, you know? Being able like to tell stories and be in someone else's shoes is what makes us tick up here, I think.
Yeah, I would actually connect it to what John said about becoming a voice actor. Part of it is, in a way I say we had to. Like, you know what I mean when I say that? It's not we don't see this as something on a pedestal. I wanted to be a voice actor, so I continue to do the things that allow me to say I'm a voice actor. So that's where that passion comes. It is, like what you said, a part of who we are.
One of the things for me that keeps me motivated is, and I wonder if any of you all, I heard somebody down there talking about Broadway, and I know you've been on Broadway. When I was 15, I went to go see a show in New York. It was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And my parents sprung for the orchestra seats. I was like 5th row. It was closing night, and the electricity was just off the charts. And then afterwards, we went to Sardi's, and there's the cast of Death Trap with Ira Levin, and I'm just like in this world of like, what is going on? But I want it! I'm working on a book called How I Never Made It to Broadway, and You Can Too. But I would have never dreamed in 1,000 billion years that I would be sitting here on a panel with these amazing actors in front of an amazing audience, because I do anime. And yet that's where my journey has brought me thus far. But one of the things throughout all of it, whether I'm doing film, commercial, anything, is the constant and persistent knowledge, or fear, I should say, not knowledge, but fear, that if I don't continually bang my head against the concrete wall, bloody, beaten up, whatever, and I just say, enough is enough, I'm done. All it was going to take was one more, and the wall would have come down, and I would have success. Now, the problem is right after there's another wall. But it's that, I don't care how many times people tell you no, because they're going to tell you no a lot more than they tell you yes. You just have to want that, to have that desire to just, I don't care what anybody says, this is what I want to do. And go for it. Just go for it. Don't let anybody tell you no. Do it. And then, like you were saying, or with the podcast, maybe you find something that's not actually doing this, but find something that you discover, some other little thing, and you're like, whoa, this is way cool. I didn't even know this existed. And I can do it from a Winnebago in Oregon.
And there's an actor, there's a stage actor in my hometown who I greatly admire, who when I was talking about, I'm a major in theater, he looked at me and goes, no, you don't do it. And in that moment, like immediately, and he was like, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna suck, all the same stuff, they're gonna tell you no more than yes, you're not gonna make money, it's gonna be a constant struggle. And I went, oh, well no, but I have to. I need it like I need oxygen. And that's actually, I think, been the most motivating thing for me is
oxygen.
Is oxygen. Is that like feeling of like, if this is gone, what am I gonna do?
Right? That's excellent.
I was going to say, I struggle with motivation constantly, and the answer for me has been to diversify. So, like for me, like we're recording anything, commercial, audio, anything like that is just a fraction of everything that I do to help pay my mortgage. And a lot of that was stripped away, with the pandemic. 85% of my career, was the rug that was pulled out from under me. So it's been a lot of introspection, like, just do I need to abandon everything? And there have been some things that I feel like I can cut away now. Things that I started with. It's almost like, how, if only your high school credits are on your resume, you want to add to those so you can cut those away. That's what I feel like I'm doing a little bit of now, and still maintaining, where I am. The fortunate thing is that there is just so much of this work to do, it just doesn't ever seem to go away. It comes it has a way of coming to you if you've already, if you allow it, if you let it in. And it is by starting, taking that first step. As scary as it may be, you got to step, you got to toe in the water.
Do we answer your question?
Time's up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is a little bit of a strange question, but I think it's a lot of fun.
If you say, how do you get into voice acting? I'm going to laugh.
Quite a bit different. All right, so I want to know what everyone's favorite Lucky Charm marshmallow is. To refresh your memory, just so there's the green clover, the hat, a rainbow, a heart, a balloon, a horseshoe, and a shooting star.
Yeah, give me that shooting star.
Yeah. All right, shooting star. Is that your answer?
Yes. Yes, final answer.
I'm gonna take rainbow.
Yes.
And then I ate the rest of them collectively because I'm a monster.
Did anybody else save all the marshmallows to the very end?
The milk is so sweet with marshmallow.
Yes.
It's salty crunch.
It's so bad for you.
Cereal is bad for you. Yes.
I don't like Lucky Charms. I'll take the pot gold for $500.
I ate total. I did, as a kid, man. I ate total. I didn't like Lucky Charms, didn't like Cheerios, didn't like anything.
You don't like Cheerios?
I ate total with like a pound of sugar in it.
So we like frosted flakes.
I only got to eat the fun cereal when I went to stay the night at someone else's house. So I had Light. Remember Mikey?
Oh, Light.
I did Light.
I do like Light.
Look how I turned out. Jealous of other people's cereal.
It is a blue moon for me.
Oh, great choice.
Well, I mean, now they're selling the whole box of marshmallows.
That's what I saw.
Good.
How many grams of sugar is
It's all of the grams. All of the grams. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know, Billy. Don't ruin it for me.
No, don't. No, I want to buy it and enjoy it. Don't ruin the moment. No, Lord.
That was a good question.
Good question.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Very good. Hi.
I moved my, sorry.
You're amazing.
I do that too.
Yeah. Out of all of your roles, which ones did you guys have the most fun with?
Oh my gosh.
Me first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat, and I'm gonna say the voiceover is so fun because your day is always so varied. So you can do like, okay, I'm gonna be on a kids show in the morning, and then I'm gonna do a commercial for a university, and then I'm gonna be a murderous villain psychopath, and then that's my day. Like that's what's so cool.
Yep.
But if I had to, it's so hard to choose. It's like when I was like, who's your favorite character? They're all my children.
My children, my babies, I can pick my favorite.
I don't know if I have it.
I have a few favorites.
I'm gonna say just because I laughed so much recently, recording for Osamatsu, I would say that was up there. That was really, really fun, so.
One of my favorites is absolutely Cherry Blossom for fun. I had a lot of fun escaping community because of the freedom I had to make it spicy. Nambaka was another one I really enjoyed. It was just insane. Yeah.
Mine would probably be Dahlia from Ace Attorney because I love that game. And to be able to be in the anime was a dream come true, and I got to be a villain. After playing so many Precious Babies, I'm like, yes, I can let loose!
Mine changes on a regular basis, but today it is a man named Sultan Vinegar from a show called Food Wars. Wait, Food Wars? Yeah, I think it's Food Wars. Yeah. I play the big. Everybody is named Food Puns, and I'm the big villain of the show. His name is Sultan Vinegar. It's pretty great.
Mine is Fruits Basket. And it's it's not because it's something that I got to do. It is simply because my son recorded on the show with me at the age of 12. That was just such a treat, and I can still just get super, super teary listening, watching that those episodes with him in it. So that was just a super treat.
My favorite character is a very clear. It's a very clear answer for me. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've played hundreds of characters. But by far and away, my most favorite, my cherished, most, closest to my heart, Soldier B. I'll never forget going, "Ah!" And when I did that, the director said, "Moving on. That was so good. You can't do better than that." And I'll never forget those words. No, really, I've never gotten to play Soldier B, so that's on my bucket list. But it's, it would have to be, I love them all, just like y'all were saying down there, but really for me, it was a character named Kumatetsu from...
Yes!
Thank you. From a movie called The Boy and the Beast by Mamoru Hosoda. And it's a beautiful movie, and it's just one of those things. And he sort of talks like this, but it's just this beautiful story, and it's really, really cool.
So I like everything that I did in Shinchan because it's demented and wrong. I love playing the fever demon and the German jogger, Griselda, and the suicidal grandmother, Wendy, who actually committed suicide on the show, which is not funny, but it was at the time. I'm really big part of that show. So you can watch that show, you need to, it's wrong.
I had a lot of fun as Kibiki and How Heavy the Dumbbells You Lift because I like playing very loud girls with no chill. But I think I have recently, I got to play Kametz recently.
What?
Kametz is so understated, but when I watched that show, I think I made myself laugh in that show more than like any other anime I've watched in the last 10 years, because I'm that good. It was just really stupid and silly and fun, and my answer to everything was, and it just tickled the hell out of me.
Thank you.
We can we'll repeat your question.
First of all, I want to say, Mr. Kametz, my sister, when I was recovering in the hospital from a suicide attempt, my sister would cheer me up by bringing in pictures of Josuke.
Oh my gosh!
So that's how
so sweet. Thank you for
that's how I
saying
got out of there. And also, my question is, I don't want to be a voice actor, but I do want to write for animated series, and I write semi-professionally, and I want to be a playwright and all that.
Beautiful.
My question is, do you think it's worth it at the end of the day? Because the publishing industry for me has been brutal and, unforgiving in a lot of ways. But, there are people, like you said, there are people who will tell you that you suck. But that's my question, is it worth it?
Do you love it and would it make you happy?
Yes.
Then absolutely it is worth it. You owe it to yourself. I was in third grade, and I remember when I discovered that it was a thing and I wanted to do it. I remember it was during a Thanksgiving or something like that, and one of my relatives was like, I was like, I want to be a voice actor, and he was like, oh, you don't want to do that. Because there's only a couple people that do that, and they take all the jobs. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just literally, he said that to a third grade kid. And I let that just fester in my brain until I was living in New York at the age of 25. And I was just like, what the hell am I doing not pursuing this? This has been my dream since I was in third grade, and I've never taken a class. I've never made any moves. And I took a class, and as soon as I did it, I was just like, oh my God, you're my people. What the hell have I been doing all this time? So if you know the thing that you want to do, you owe it to yourself to just get into a class. get in front of a group of people that are like-minded, that also want to be writers, and be like, hey, I wrote this thing, you want to check it out? Cool. Ooh, let me read your thing. Awesome. And you're going to be like the happiest you've ever been. I promise you. You got to do it. You have to do it.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're still here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So, joining in the list, I'm a film student, also throwing away my life. It's all good. My question actually has to do with your pre-production and production in anime, how it's changed over the global panini.
The penny. it's been kind of an intense shift, yeah, because we've had to all adopt to remote recording. For a good chunk of it, we all had to create home booths. I've actually done directed a couple of simuldubs for Funimation through this, and I've done it all from home. And a lot of it too is, making sure the actors that you're working with, the quality for home recording is good. You're working through the internet, so there's a lot of other tech issues that you may be dealing with. You could be dealing with outside noise, you could be dealing with internet dropouts from programs we use to connect with each other. And I feel like we are not as expedient with producing the anime because of the drawbacks of remote recording. So there's stuff like that that makes it a little more difficult, but I think we've managed to kind of streamline it in the past, I think, 6+ months since we've been doing this. So it's been, it's been longer now. We've been doing it for about a year now, plus. Anyway, time doesn't matter.
One of the things to add to what Damon's saying,
Yeah.
if there's a good thing that has come out of the pandemic in our industry, it's that we were forced to embrace remote recording.
Yes.
We've had it. I mean, I've been an actor for 30 years, and there's always been remote recording. But it was things like ISDN lines and high-speed T1 cables and stuff like that. It was expensive. Now, Source Connect, audio movers, and sound mover, and all these different things, Zoom, all these different platforms, it's become so much different. So the challenge really is making sure you're hardwired instead of Wi-Fi. Because Wi-Fi, that's where you get a lot of drops. But it's so much easier, and it's also, for me as a director in Houston, it's opened up the talent pool in Dallas for me. Because they don't have to come down, I need you for an hour. Well, that's $100. You don't want to drive 4 hours one way to work for 1 hour. So, in addition to home studios, we've actually got a studio in Dallas that we use. So you would actually go there, and I would go into a little closet and sit there with a monitor and scripts and everything. You'd record up there, and they send it to us. And so it's really been great because it's really opened up for us, instead of course, the actors in Houston are like going, why aren't you calling me as much? I'm like, no, because I've got more actors to choose from. And actually, it's a double-edged sword there, but I mean, it's been a great thing, I think, for being able to, to really...
I'd really like to expand on that too, because I've actually been fortunate enough, because of the remote recording situation, not only I've actually moved to LA since the pandemic. I moved from Dallas to LA. So I've actually been able to still work for Funimation from home because of the internet. But also for directing, I'm able to hire not only Dallas actors, but I've hired New York actors that you may have heard from, like, like in 4 Kids and stuff like that. Actors in the UK, actors in Australia, actors in Canada. You are opening up dubbing opportunities for people who normally would never get those opportunities to begin with. So I think people are extremely thankful for that, too, so that it's not entirely limited to, say, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles.
Yeah, classically, one of the big, how do I be a voice actor answers was live where the work is.
Yeah, it's not true.
The work is everywhere.
It's not true.
However, to add to that, that is true. To add to that, every studio operates a little differently. At Sentai, we don't record remotely the same way Funimation does. So you have to be willing to adapt to whatever studio you plan to work for. As far as the metrics and what specifications, this is where we need you to set your blah, blah, blah. I'm not an engineer, but I'm just, and, I had one actor tell me one time, they're like, well, they were getting frustrated, and they're like, that's not how I do it when I do it with Funimation. And I was like, well, I'm Sentai. You're not working for Funimation. So, wrong answer, number one. Wrong studio.
Read your check.
So you gotta be able to adapt and that kind of thing. But it's not hard. I mean, it's a couple of moves one way or the other on the dial.
Or picking a different program. I mean, every studio has to do, a lot of them will go through an audio test with you preemptively to make sure that you are able to accommodate to their needs, because everybody has different specifications. Some things do still require in studio. When I did Final Fantasy VII Remake, I still had to go into studio because they wanted to match the audio quality of the game because it was DLC. But for the most part, as long as you've got equipment and the right stuff, it's very minimal difference in quality. I hope that answers your question.
Hey guys, I just wanted to touch base with you and see, obviously you're all known for some major roles. Be it major or minor, what role do you think was the role that made you go, this is it, I can make it in voice acting? Stole my question. Stand here for 20 minutes. I think I'm doing it.
I think there's ever been a moment that I was just like, yes, I've arrived. It's a journey of just like, okay, what's next? Like, even if you do something really, really, really cool and you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be so much fun. You get done doing that and you go, that was awesome. What's next? So like, it's just, I feel like the next role is the most exciting.
And you're constantly moving forward and reapplying and re-auditioning for stuff all the time. So you are always, there's no job security. You can be extremely busy for a period of time in your career, and then there's ebbs and flows where you'll have no work or very minimal work. And it always just depends on who you're trying out for, and it's just, you just gotta keep going at it. It doesn't matter how established you are.
I think I have something that might kind of be along the lines of that question. I think I have specific video game goals for like the types of characters I'd like to play. Like the goals were, I want to play like a Kratos, you know, somebody who is not only the lead character in the game franchise that you play with, but also is in a franchise that is long run, you know, 5-10 years, something like that. And for me, I did get examples of this, but I got it in 2 pieces. The first piece was the first game I got to do for Gearbox, which was Battleborn.
Yep.
Yeah, I was the voice of Trevor Galt. I can't remember. Trevor Galt, and he was the person who was over the ship, the USSR that you flew in, and I was the voice that led you through the demo of the game, not the demo, the tutorial. Thank you, my brain. The tutorial of the game. And so that was a big deal for me because I felt I was given the responsibility of being the
guide for new players kind of thing.
Exactly, and having the most lines in the game based on the character, right? And so that was one piece of it, because that was the piece of Kratos that, I can be the guy who does the bulk of the heavy lifting, right? And the second piece was when I got to be in this and Borderlands, right? Because that was every other piece of that. I was in a franchise that had gone on for years. They trusted me with a role that they told me they auditioned with someone who was, I guess, a celebrity status that was not a voice actor, you know, someone you've known him, so they see it. And so I got to do the role instead of that person, right? So that combination was the evidence I needed to say I'm capable of doing whatever it is I want to do. I haven't made it, I agree, but what it did give me was the confidence to say, this work that I'm doing means I am capable of pushing myself to do more.
Confidence is exactly the word that I was going to use.
Yes.
Mine, I think, is energy talk. I feel for that, who is so drastically, astronomically different from how I sound in real life, because this is how I talk. And being able to come to a show that beautiful and do something so, that was such a departure from anything that I'd gotten to do at that point, like on stage, kind of gave me the okay, I can do this job. I can do this job. Cool, all right, I'm good. Now let's keep doing it.
Soldier B.
Thank you.
think of another question?
I did, yes. Well, thank you all for taking the time to come out here and answer my question.
Thank you.
It kind of does kind of tie into that one, but and a previous question as well. But have y'all ever like fell in love with either a role or a series that you've just taken home and just were always thinking about, or do y'all do a pretty good job of kind of just detaching from your work and kind of just okay, move on to the next?
That's so hard.
I hold on to everything.
Yeah. One of the things, it depends, like, if you go to the studio, I think, Billy, you were saying this, but for the thing is you, that, you know, you might do 3 or 4 different things in a day that are completely unrelated. And you know.
Yeah, if you're booth hopping, it's one thing.
Yeah, it's like you're doing this character, and then now you're doing this character, so, you know. I will tell you that, just in a kind of a semi-related, people also sometimes ask, you know, what's your favorite anime to watch? And my answer to that is always, you know, I direct it all day long. I don't go home and unwind by watching more anime. So, I will tell you this, I got to share this real quick, I'm sorry. My son is 17 and he loves anime, and he would love to be here. One day I walked into his room and he's on his phone, as young kids are, sitting there, and I go, what are you doing? He's like, watching some anime. I'm like, oh, sweet, what are you watching? Soul Eater. Oh. You know, I play Lord Death. And he goes, yeah, I'm watching the Japanese version.
Very funny.
Get out. You're not my son. Get out.
Epic.
Second. My son doesn't want my own Wrong with my children.
Hi. How are you?
What's your question?
I love your shirt, man.
It sounds like your Japanese counterparts might be a sore spot.
No.
Okay. I'm curious about comparisons between yourselves and Japanese counterparts. Has it ever been intimidating to hear that you've got the same role as a really prolific, heavy-hitting voice actor, or say Sakamoto Maya? You heard that you got a character or that you share a voice before with Sakamoto Maya. Has that ever been intimidating?
No, because I should be just as honored to be playing my part. To be honest. But no, I mean, personally, no, because we're there to do the version that we do is specific, right? That's why it's a dub. And so no, that's why it'd be no for me.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really think about it too much because when I audition for a role, I'm thinking about what I would portray. I don't listen to the Japanese really. I'm not trying to base it off of that necessarily. So I'm trying to bring what I can bring to the table. If it is similar for some reason or whatever, that's based on the casting director's decision to keep it similar. But I try not to let that, dissuade me from auditioning for something. It is going to be really nervous. Maybe this show height of like how popular a show is that make me more nervous than the actual actors that the Japanese are.
Okay. Another thing, the first time I watched Soul Eater, I did see the dub, and I did love your voice as Lord Death.
My son! But I will tell you, when you're being cast in a show, or you're auditioning for a show, the first thing the director is looking for is your acting. It's not the voice necessarily. However, this is my opinion, but I think what Damon said is absolutely true. We bring something to the table. However, you must remember, it is imperative in my opinion, we must remember we did not create this character.
Right.
The Japanese actor did. It would be a complete slap in the face if I went in and said, I'm going to do Lord Death like this. Because that's not what he sounds like. In fact, that's what happened in my audition. Because I'm playing these heavy characters, and I'm like, they want you to audition for Lord Death, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Fine. director. He's like, no. Let's listen to what the Japanese actor did. It was like, oh, he's way up here like this, okay. So that's what we did. And then even when we started recording, we recorded about 20 minutes in the first episode, and he stopped the session. He said, where your voice has sort of evolved to in this 20 minutes is right where I'd like it to be. So let's start over. So we went back and we started over. But it didn't take any time. We'd already done the line. So, but it just, you know, it's a process and you develop it. But when we get an audition, you know, we're auditioning for something that hopefully we land somewhere in the ballpark of what the director is looking for. But I promise you, it's the acting, you know. If you go in there and don't read the notes and like you yell every line or you scream or whatever, and it's like, well, this is a very intimate moment, you know, something like that. You want to give it all this kind of a ride, not just, you know. So, but I think it's very important to trust what the Japanese actor did and go kind of follow that.
A lot of times too, they'll put that in audition signs as a reference too, if that's what they're looking for, to keep it close to that. So sometimes you may honor that and go closer to that. So like exactly what John said too. For sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sure you guys go to a lot of conventions. I know you get invited to a lot, and you guys fill out a lot of autographs. So I was just wondering what each of you think is the coolest thing someone's ever brought for you guys to autograph.
I got brought a weird thing once. Someone literally brought me their, not even old, but their current, the KFC box they were currently eating out of.
That is fantastic. Someone brought me their baby. I did not see
Oh no!
Did they try to give you their baby?
No, whatever. Yes, the baby KFC boxes. We were alive
Live is kind of scary. I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, I'm not signing a child. Don't ever bring me a baby.
I remember one time at a con, it was one of my early ones. It was like, we were all on a table and they just like moved down the line. And some guy just like had a bottle of Jergens lotion. And he was like, "Will you sign my lotion?" And then like Ben Rhodes was there and he was like, all right, here you go. And then I was like, hey, and I signed it. And then like the next person, I can't remember who it was, they're like, no! I could have said no. Like, it was early on in my time, dude.
Learn your boundaries, everyone. Boundaries are important.
Always say no to Jergens lotion.
And babies. And KFC boxes.
That wasn't my favorite thing.
And greasy.
I signed a katana today, and it was such a treat because it took me back to my older days of teaching kabuki theater, and when we used those kinds of swords. So, you know, not a comedy, but you know, it was just something that just took me back to, and there it is.
Buster, all of us signed a shoe this morning?
Yes.
I
signed a shoe.
My heart asked that shoe.
I signed a shoe.
Probably I've signed, mine's more of a sweet thing. A girl, she was recovering from a mental hospital because her personal reasons. And she was celebrating her recovery a year after being out, and she was giving me little rubber duckies. And it was like, oh, that's so sweet. So she's like, yeah, I just want to celebrate these times. I'm like, you're so sweet. It was really nice. So that's one of my favorites.
I've signed some pretty cool Aladdin merch, I think, in the day. Some people have kept some things from the original Aladdin film. And at the stage door in New York, I've signed original VHSs or like original toys from like Aladdin on Ice and things like Disney on Ice, stuff like that. It's been pretty wild.
I think what's a treat, I have a little collection at home of like artwork that's been given to me by fans, but I have them sign it for me. I just really love that.
You're so wholesome.
Side boob. Never, I've never done it.
John can interested.
Crazy sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you. More questions?
Hi again.
Yeah, we'll make these the last three
Yes.
questions.
A lot of questions.
So to make a very long, sad story short, I was severely depressed, but my best friend made me do 2D animation, and I learned that I can't live without it, but the problem is I have to listen to my own voice. How do you not hate your own voice?
Listen to it a lot.
Yeah. It feels weird first. It's like you're gonna be like I remember I would be like, people are gonna see what I do. I'd be like, that's not Josuke, that's Billy. It's like, yeah, you get over it. I find it. And you'll be like, this is freaking cool.
Exposure therapy, hard words where they make your eyes wide. Do that with your ears, just so that you can't plug it.
A weird thing too is I used to, I don't know if y'all have dealt with this, but like before I was voice acting, whatever, when I heard my own voice, it sounded really weird and different. But now that I do it a lot, it's like, it doesn't really sound different or whatever. I don't know why. It doesn't register anymore. It's like, oh, that's what it's
Used to
like.
hearing it.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so weird.
I, however, one of the things that I do in my life, I'm a marionettist, and in our theater, we do everything ourselves. We create everything. Todd Havercorn records all of our shows for us, and so he uses a lot of talent. So I enjoy listening to Caitlin Glass singing our Cinderella, or Monica Rial is one of our ugly stepsisters, and our Ursula's Wendy Powell, of course. But I do not record because I do not want to be listening to myself. I can't stand it. Especially if it's my own speaking voice, because the way I hear myself inside my head is not what I hear when it's playing back to me. But when I'm playing a character, it's just make a difference. But yeah, I couldn't do that for like an entire run of a show. Listen to myself, performance after performance after performance. No.
Yeah, I got to the point where I love hearing myself.
That's the hope. I just want to no longer hate how I sound.
Good time. Oh, are you okay?
At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if you like it, it's if somebody else likes it.
That's true.
Right, because you're telling that story.
So I wanted to ask, in terms of like going to college for acting, is that really worth like the price of tuition and moving there and everything? Is that really worth it?
You're looking at me like this is directed at me. And it's making me scared.
It was for me. It was the absolute direction, the path that I needed to take. I was going to go pre-med, and that's the way I was being prepped by my family. And the only thing that my father said that I could not do was to go to college and study acting, study theater. That just made it even more imperative that that's exactly what I was going to do. But then it turned out that that's something that he did when he was in school and wishes that he had pursued more. And I have had to turn him down. That, Dad, I'm not going to help you get voiceover. I'm not going to bring you in to be my own competition.
And I don't like your voice very much.
I think it also really depends on where you go. I got a full ride. I went to the school where I got a full ride, and it was not a theater school and did not have a good theater program. And like my journey in educational theater, being what it was, it's a wonder that I am professionally in performing arts right now. It's I had this very much like, all right, build your own major, also teach yourself.
Oh, right here.
Kind of. Major and I worked together in theater, and watching him on stage was actually taught me more than my degree. But free advice is worth what you pay for it.
And the other thing too is that as an actor, you rely on two things, I think. One is building your skill, building your craft, working on it. But the other thing is experience. I mean, you draw on life experience a lot as an actor. And it's very, when you go to college, it's going to provide, hopefully, a lot of experiences better than working at a KFC for those 4 years just trying to eke out a living. So nothing wrong with you working at KFC, I love KFC. I'm just saying, like she said, it really depends, you know? But know this, that no matter where you go, even if you go to Juilliard, you know, you're not gonna leave Juilliard and go, all right, because you're gonna hear this. Nobody comes out of Juilliard, I mean, maybe some people do, but nobody comes out of Juilliard and everyone's just like, we've gotta have you! It's like, then it becomes, you've gotta go out and really go after it. So whether you go to college or not, that doesn't matter. But I would say, it ain't gonna hurt you to learn history and learn literature, and that kind of stuff. And even marketing, learn marketing.
Right, I would say that to be a well-rounded actor, performer, you live a well-rounded life, right? But my life experience led me to not need college, and I didn't know that until I got there. Working in theater, local theater, my whole life with adults who were from New York and came down to Texas. I went to school, I went to conservatory, to the Chicago College of Performing Arts, where I was only going to do music, theater, dance, yada yada, all that. But after a year, they were trying to break down what I had into making something that, you know, was the formula for the school. But I already had enough life experience, so I didn't need to finish. And so I left and then found myself bowing on Broadway next to a girl that went through 4 years of the same school. So I was like, okay, I'm okay. That worked out.
I would say, at least as far as I'm concerned, going to college hasn't been as useful for me as an actor as going to therapy.
That'll reach.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like that was like when I kind of really understood myself, was like when I really understood what I could bring to the table for acting. Yeah, I went to college. I grew a lot as a person. I had a lot of fun, and I took a couple classes in Philadelphia right afterwards, and I learned so much. And I was like, wow, that was way cheaper than college. I wonder what would happen if I just kind of started doing that. So I always think about that. But again, like life experience, had a lot of fun. It's really just up to you. You have to kind of decide for yourself if it's worth it, if it's worth the money, and if which path you want to go. So
yeah, I did not go to college, but I had taken a lot of classes for voiceover, for acting and stuff, and then just on the job experience too. I think what I'm saying is very helpful.
All right. Thank you.
good question. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Sorry.
You're good.
So this may be a little bit of a dumb question, but I wanted to quickly ask, like, if you had any choice, like, to go to, like if you had to choose, like, a different occupation, you can answer this jokingly, but
That's not a dumb question.
No, I love that question. It's very clever, actually.
It's awesome.
I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was growing up.
Oh, that's cool.
I probably would have gone into horticulture or botany.
I actually wanted to be a marine biologist and specifically study sharks, which is odd because, well, that's not odd. But I mean, what is odd is my oldest daughter wants to be an actor. My son, who doesn't watch me in anime, wants to be a marine biologist.
Oh, that's cool.
My youngest daughter wants to be a realtor, and I have no idea where that is. But yeah, marine biologist. So my ultimate bucket list, like number one on my bucket list, is to swim with a great white shark.
I wanted to be a general practitioner. I wanted to be like, I grew up in the country, and I kind of wanted to be like that little country doctor that, you know, that everybody came to, everybody knew. That was what I liked. I wanted to be a dentist.
I wanted to be a bank robber, but I don't have well, I don't have the nerves for it. So I have to be an actor. But I was a massage therapist for a decade. So I'm thinking, well, I can know for the right price.
Yeah.
But wellness would be something I enjoy.
So when you say you'll be at your table, face down.
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I love animals, and I would love to travel to different places and help them get better.
In high school, I lived in into being a psychologist. Weirdly. And then I stopped that.
One of the things I love so much about voiceover is just like the people and like everybody is like so like-minded and so amazing and friendly and everything. I'm a big craft beer nerd, and craft beer people are also like super welcoming and super awesome. So I would open up a brewery, and then I would just name all the beers super nerdy names like crazy, noisy, bizarre, sour. And stuff like that. I think that would be my thing.
Thank you for your question. Thank you guys. All the way to the left when you enter. So feel free to come say hi and bye, and have a great weekend.
Morning, Maya.